Okay, hello everyone. This is John Lockley. I'm going to teach you how to make a mix in Ableton today. So, I guess it really doesn't matter what version you're using, but I'm going to be using version 8. And yeah, it should be able to apply to the other versions if you have an earlier version. But this is how I make my mixes for my podcast and whatever, each month. So let me show you what to do. All right, first off, we're going to open Ableton. Yeah. So I'm sure you know how to do that already. And we are going to put in some tracks. And as you can see here, I'll go kind of slow. I have put in already 12 audio tracks. If you don't know how to do that, just do this here. You can right click and insert audio track. Yep. But I'm not going to use 13 today, so I'll just go ahead and delete that. Okay, also on each audio channel, we're going to add an EQ8. You can see it here, right? So I'll go ahead and just let me delete this one, right? Hopefully you know how to do this already, but I'll just show you, right? Just drag it down in here. Bam, there you go. And what we're going to do with each EQ on each track is hit this one here and put this filter on it right here like this. Yeah. Since this is track 1, we'll go ahead and take this down to 30 hertz. As you know, probably, this goes from 30 hertz all the way up to about 20,000 kilohertz, right? So we're going to start off like this is the regular settings for our EQ. Okay, so I have gone down each audio channel and put on the EQ, as you can see here, each one, and I've also clicked this filter right here. This is a high pass filter, yeah. Low pass, high pass, right? So as you can see, each channel EQ is done. Wait a minute, let me hit this one. I didn't do that one. Yep, there we go. So I'm set up on each channel with my EQs. Okay, so I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so I can see better. All right, now when you make a mix, there's a couple of ways to do this. Now, the first way, let me find some tracks here in my folders. The first way to do it is to, you can drag a track on. Wait a minute. You can drag a track. Let me take this off. You can drag a track on like this. Put one here, and then you can take one and put one here. And then you can take one and put it up here like this, and so on and so forth. Like this, and just use 2 channels, right? But I don't like to do mine that way. I like to have mine cascading down like this. Right? So it goes down in a cascade. It doesn't really matter because it's going to be the same amount of time up top. So, I just like the way this feels better. And but you can do it either way. It'll work either way, right? So let me delete these first. All right, I'm actually going to use that track that I just put on there. So drag your first track onto your audio channel. And as you can also see here, this is 8A. I'm also using mixed in key. If you're not using this, you should be, right? Because music sounds better in key. Yeah? Okay. And also, this is a 125 beats per minute, but I like to have my mixes 127, 128, somewhere around there. So I'll put it up to 128. That's a good BPM for the style of music I play. Now, making these mix can probably work for any genre, but you might need to make some adjustments. So this is just basically for house or tech house, disco house, funky house, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm going to show you how I do it. If you follow these steps, it should be pretty easy and make your mix sound good. And the transitions between your songs sound good. And of course, you may need to make some minor adjustments, but this should get you going pretty good. All right. So I got my first song in, right? So our EQ is pretty much the same, so I'll let you hear what that sounds like. Okay, everything is a go there. Now I want to bring in my next track, so I'm going to look down here in the next one. I've got an 8A here, so I want to look for a 7A or 9A. So I'm looking here. What have I got? I think I'm going to use this one right here. This is a 7A. So what I'm going to do is take this track on. I'll collapse that because I don't need it right now. But what I want to do is when I'm mixing, this is the same way I mix live when I'm DJing. The end of this song, I want it to go out right as the break from the new song is coming in. So you can look at the waveform and you can see that right here. Here's a break. We could do it here. Here's the first break, but it's kind of, it's a little bit too short. It'll come in too quickly, and you don't really want to do that in house music too much. You want to have a nice long mix, right, where the songs play together. And it takes a little bit of time for the songs to make the transition. So I see that the break starts here, so I want this song to end as this song is coming in. Yep. Okay. So it's about right there. So I got to go back over here and check and see where my thing is. You know what? Wait a minute. No, I don't want to use this break. This is a little bit longer here. I do actually want to use this one. So I'm going to move it down here. Here we go. Right? So it should stop there. All right. So let me go here. I want to line up these two beats. Right? The kick drums. Make sure I'm on the same beat. This is how you do it now. Now, some of you may like to use the warp function here. You could look at the track down here and warp the track. I find it doesn't really matter if you let it do it automatically when, what's more important is lining it up here on the kick, right? So I don't want to see that. Anyway, so here are the two songs. So let me, before I do anything, let me play this at the full volume, both tracks at the full volume, so you can just hear what it sounds like, right? Now this is when you just bring both tracks in full board and full volume. You're going to see that it sounds, a little bit strange because it's too loud, okay? But just take a listen. Okay, so you could hear right around here when this track came in. So it was a little bit too loud. I don't want the track coming in loud like that. I want to sneak the track in, the second track. I want the transition to be where the people can't tell when the song is changing, right? They can tell, but volume-wise, they can't tell. So what I'm going to do first is adjust the volume level here. All right, so what I like to do, and this works usually for every track, what I like to do is put a point here and bring it down to about a -11. You can do it, 10, 12, whatever you want to do, but just try it out. But I like to bring it at about -11. Okay. Now, I can see that this first track, the beat kind of gets a little bit softer right here. So this is actually where I want my second song to come in louder, right? This is where I want the change to be. So I'm going to move the volume up to about -2, because usually I found in Ableton that you can tell on your meter over here, but it's a little bit too loud when you play it at 0 decibels. So I like to keep my songs around -2. But again, you're going to have to, play with that a little bit just to watch your volume levels. Okay, so I've got it coming in now here. So it's going to change off. Now, let me tell you what you're going to do with the EQ. Okay. First off, let's go with track 1 here. We can tell the beat drops out, but I still want to make sure that the bass and the kick, drops out quite a bit. So go over here, and we're going to be using 3 things. We're going to use the 1 frequency A, the 1 gain A, and the 1 resonance A. So let me start with the gain first. Okay, as you can see, the gain here is at 0 dB, where it should be. So when this new song, the second song, comes in, I want this to drop out. I want the gain to drop out. And this is the same thing, I do with the bass on the mixer when I'm DJing live. I'll take the bass all the way out at this point, and I'll switch the bass of this one in, right? So if you go to this EQ and the gain here, I want to switch this one up to 0 dB, right? Now if you want to zoom in and dial it in a little bit better, you can move that over, right? Move it over here. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Now, let's move on to the frequency. As you know, the frequency here is at 30 decibels, right? It's down here. This is where we want it to be, because this is where the kick makes its noise, right? So if we want to take it out, what we're going to have to do is move this thing up to, as you can see, look down here, this will move as I move it up here. Move it up to 90, about 99.6. This is, I found out this is where it works the best, right? About 99.6. It takes it out, but leaves in just a little bit so you can still hear it, right? Okay, so we're going to have to do the opposite on the bottom. So let's go with the frequency here. As you can see, this is at 99.6, so we got to drop this one down to 30. So the kicks will change at this point. And I'll play that in just a minute and let you hear it. Alright, so the last one we're going to do is the resonance, okay? Now the resonance, you can see here's the Q function on the EQ. And when it's up at the normal range here, it'll be around 71. So what we're going to do is take this down to 26, right? 20, there we go. So we're going to do the same thing on this one here. We're going to go from 26 into 71, okay? All right, now we've got everything set up for this track, okay? We got the EQs cutting in, cutting out, same as you would do at DJing live. And I got the volume. Now the volume on this track I'm going to leave the same, right? It's going to be at the -2. It's going to be staying the same because this actually drops out by itself. So I don't really need to change the volume. I don't want to take it out too much because it won't sound right. So you can see the volume coming in here, and then the EQ is going to change here. So let's just give it a listen. I'll let you listen to, actually let's listen to it all the way through to this break, right? Okay, here we go. Okay, so you can hear that, right? Sounded great. Okay, man, the bass was a little bit hot right here, but, you know, it's going to sound the same way when you play in a club anyway, right? So that's how you do it. Very easy, yep. Just follow those steps. Now, Let's do it with another track. I just want to show you again, just in case you missed it. So let me bring in a third track. Now I have an 8A and a 7A, so let me bring in 6A somewhere here. Okay, well that's it. I think you get the idea.